Hello once again, and with the reopening of cinemas almost upon us, it's time to welcome a special short film by one of the modern European masters, Pedro Almodovar, The Human Voice. For these times of lockdown, Pedro Almodovar's new 30-minute movie is probably the most viable and relevant type of film production. A tale of someone isolated, regretful, anxious, unable to tell whether current arrangements are contingent or permanent, retreating into gestures of self-immolating despair. This theatrical piece is loosely based on Jean Cocteau's 1930 stage play of the same name. It was adapted by Rossellini in the 1940s and also, in fact, proved to be a jumping-off point for Almodovar's own women on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Tilda Swinton plays a woman who is on the verge of something very similar, or maybe the verge is now long behind her. She is living in what appears to be an apartment in Spain, vividly and richly presented in soupy reds and oranges which pop on screen with that hint of retro, decor that could only exist in an Almodovar picture. She is speaking on the telephone, in anguish, to the lover who has just left her. Almodovar deconstructs both the woman's state of mind and perhaps his own emotional rhetoric as well, by at first keeping the camera well within this apartment, and then by moving above it, revealing it to be a ceilingless set, some of whose kitchen drawers won't open. Like this woman's life together with the departed man, this apartment is a phony. The woman herself is beautiful, elegant, evidently a star of stage and screen or a model. At any rate, she is talking wryly about how her mature looks are now fashionable once again. Producers want her at the moment that her lover feels the opposite. Tilda Swinton's delivery has a theatrical style, and there is something frozenly despairing about it. It is the voice of someone who is unwilling to relinquish her dignity or rationality and just give in to an aria of sadness. An elegant jeu d'esprit from Almodovar with a bleak hint that moving on from our present lockdown malaise will involve some kind of wholesale destruction. Now it's time to turn to TV and the Sunday night BBC show that's replaced Call of Duty.
Linda believes in love. She's passionately romantic.
Here's Fanny.
Is life only about love?
Yes! Relax, all discipline could easily come to nothing.
So you aspire to being wicked and adulterous, do you, Linda?
No. I aspire to true love.
Love is for grown-ups, as you'll discover one day.
Come fight the fascists with me.
Better get dressed first.
Yes, this is another adaptation of the enduringly, but for me rather bafflingly revered comic novel, The Pursuit of Love from 1945, by one of the more acceptable of the pre-war aristocratic Mitford sisters, Nancy Mitford. Like so much of her work, it is a comedy about the exotic patrician young butterflies of the ruling class with their adorably eccentric families and acquaintances as they flit between London, the country and Christchurch, Oxford. I seem to have spent my entire professional life dealing with people recommending Nancy Mitford to me, to which I can only say, quoting the Amazon website, well, if you like that, you're going to love Evelyn Waugh, and once you've started on Evelyn Waugh, there's really no need to bother too much with Nancy Mitford. Nancy is politically one of the neutral sisters, broadly speaking, like Pamela and Deborah, or Debo. The nicknames are a terribly important part of the journalistic mythomania. The communist one was Jessica, or Decca, and the Nazi ones were Diana, who married Oswald Mosley, with Hitler as a wedding guest, and Unity, the most fervent admirer and acquaintance of the Führer. She attempted suicide in Germany at the outbreak of war, and was perhaps a model for Evelyn Waugh's character Agatha Runcible. Well, the wildly extravagant and much discussed differences between the sisters are, I suspect, just aspects of the same imperious and provocative personality. Nancy herself became famous for defining the distinction between you and non-you phrases, which revealed the users to be middle class and ghastly, like toilet and notepaper, etc. And in this drama, the irascible Uncle Matthew, played by Dominic West, goes off on one about non-you phrases. Again, all my life I've been hearing journalists say that, oh, of course, you and non-you was just a joke, which non-you oiks took seriously and got upset about, thus revealing how terribly suburban they were. Actually, of course, Mitford's you and non-you provocation was deadly serious.
I see trouble ahead.
An adulterous woman is the single most disgusting thing there is!
You can't say that her life isn't exciting.
I do feel like a terrible old black sheep.
And so to this particular adaptation, which isn't bad, with amiable performances from Lily James and Emily Beecham in the leads. But in terms of direction and production design, there's a quite extraordinary amount of ripping off of Wes Anderson going on. The very talented Emily Mortimer, who directed and adapted this, is someone whose work I've enjoyed in the past, and I incidentally liked her performance in Dolly Wells's film Good Posture, Dolly Wells having a small role here. I wish everyone involved in the pursuit of love well, but why are these middling, posh, fictional characters in a pound shop Evelyn Waugh novel considered interesting? My final film this week is the streaming re-release of Pat Murphy's 1981 drama Maeve, starring Mary Jackson as Maeve Sweeney, a young woman from Catholic West Belfast who at the height of the Troubles returns home from London to come to terms with her background and with her family, particularly her mother and her sister Roisin, played here by Brid Brennan.
Are you smiling at? Women often ask her to do things for them. What about that time she arranged for Mary McKenna to go to London to have her baby? After her own mother threw her out.
Yeah, and Mary McKenna arrived on my doorstep with a letter from Mammy asking me to fix her. Then when I tried talking to Mammy about it, she shut me up. She let on she didn't know anything. And all that after telling me not to come home when I got pregnant.
She says exactly the same to me. Must be different with your own. She lives on in us. If we get hurt, she feels it. So she's frightened for us. She wants to be involved with marriages and children. And all of us living in the same neighbourhood. Now you've left, she's afraid I'll go as well. Listen, if anything does happen to you, Roisin, I'll help you get away. You can come and live with me. I mean, it'd be awful if you had to get married. I mean, you don't have to do that. Thanks.
The action flashes backwards and forwards in enigmatic episodes, showing Maeve as a child, a schoolgirl, and a young woman in Northern Ireland and in London. This is a fierce, gaunt prose poem of a movie, remarkably shot on the streets of Belfast itself, and born of the British Film Institute's art cinema aesthetic of that era, starkly realist and yet at the same time mysterious and wan. It is theatrically stylised, always stumbling across a dreamlike tableau of its own devising. There is something of Terence Davies here, but also Ibsen and Beckett. It's the kind of movie which hasn't been fashionable in Brit art house circles for a long time, although Richard Billingham's recent Ray and Liz has something of that early 80s, late 70s BFI era. Maeve is a quietly amazing film, long overdue for re-release and reappraisal. That's it once again. I need you to get your debit card out for my book, The Films That Made Me, an edited selection of my essays and reviews for The Guardian. And as I have said so often in the past, give this vlog a like and a share on social media. And please, 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 oh please, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you.